Hello and welcome to Bandy, a podcast about being flexible and all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your pensioned, reticent hosts. Joining me, as always, is our other pensioned and reticent hosts, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack? Wow,
I hope one day to be pensioned.
right? I feel like we are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the way. We're building our pension, right? Well, I mean, like
Uh-huh.
some of us
Uh-huh.
are. I'm probably not.
I'm not.
No, I was also, reticent, was for the
That's
different
like,
meaning of the word retired, right? Not,
yeah,
but it's fine. Look,
yeah.
I don't want to hear
I
it.
like it. I it just makes me realize like I'm basically already there.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, the bones are creaking.
I know. What's the crack? So actually, my bones aren't creaking
That's good.
today
Oh,
for the first
okay.
time in a while,
Mm-hmm.
right? I woke up like I was talking to my therapist last week and she was like, what do you, it was either you or my therapist. I can't remember. It might have been you. And she was like, one of you was like, like, what do you, like if you could wake up tomorrow and like feel something or like be a certain way. And I'm like, I just want to wake up and feel like I want to get out of bed. Right.
Yep.
And like, bed is my favorite place in the world. And like, I want to get up and like, walk the kids to school and I want to like take the dog for a walk and I want to get out of bed, right?
Yep.
And I had that this morning, which like
Nice.
when you don't have that feeling for like over a month, it's a little weird. So like I
Mm-hmm.
got up this morning and I slept all night long, which for me is like it happens maybe two or three times a year.
Okay.
It's amazing what a whole night's sleep can
It
do.
it really is, and you
It's
feel like you want to do a parade or something like that. It's
and
like
like, oh, I get to
woohoo!
tell Andy I slept all night.
Congratulations! I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
for you.
I know. Um, so yeah, so like today I'm feeling like normal-ish.
Good.
I don't want to like jinx anything, so I'm gonna
Sure.
knock on all the wood, but like I feel good. I feel
I love it.
good.
That's
And
a
we got rain.
whoa. In
I
California?
know. 2 days it's been
What the
raining.
fuck? What's going on over there?
I
Does
know.
the rain not know where it is?
I
In
don't think it
California?
does. Mike's like the stream isn't even running. We get this little like stream behind
Yeah,
the house. You've seen, this.
I
So
have.
it's not running yet, so there hasn't
Okay.
been enough rain, but
Okay.
enough
Well,
to make Charlie cry on the way to school.
oh, really? Did
Yeah.
he get rained on the way to school?
Yeah.
Oh
And he cried.
no. Oh, darling.
I know. What's the crack
Um,
with you?
so since we last spoke, I went to see A Complete Unknown.
Oh, what'd you think?
I really enjoyed it.
I,
Um,
yeah. I
so
can't figure him out.
no. So it actually led me to because like I would say I'm not a Bob Dylan fan. He's one of these people who I can respect, his
Hmm.
craft and that he is clearly talented, but he just didn't work for me necessarily.
He's like a
Um,
poet that
yeah,
ended up singing.
yes, I
And
think
his
that's
poetry's so good
mhm.
that people were like, we'll listen to him sing it.
Yeah, that's true. I and like well, before I get into my thoughts on the
Okay.
movie and stuff, I was going to ask
Yes.
like, what are your thoughts on him? Were you a fan, or are you a fan?
I'm not like an insane fan.
Sure.
But I definitely like I have a couple. Do I have any of his albums? I have a couple of his albums. And like my
Hmm.
parents were of that generation.
Yeah.
And so like they listened to Bob Dylan. And then I on one of the podcasts, I can't remember which one. I told you I was a roadie for a
Yeah.
day for one of his shows, and this was like I don't know, 19, maybe the year 2000 or
Hmm.
something. So that was, 24 years ago. And I was like, this dude is ancient.
Yeah,
And now it's 24 years ago, and he's still rocking.
it's true. See, even
So
like in that Greatest Night in History documentary I was talking about a few weeks back, he was on that and he was starting to look old then,
he's,
And that was
yeah.
the 80s.
Yeah. So I really, and I've seen some documentaries about him. Um, and I just think like I'm jealous a little bit that certain people were able to be in Greenwich Village in New York City at this like certain time period, and they were all there together, and they all knew each other, and they were all creating together, and like
Yeah,
how cool.
that's true.
And so I'm excited that, and like I don't know anything about the movie, but I get the sense that like it doesn't span his entire life, right?
No,
Because that would
it,
be weird. Like
it,
Timothy Chalamet is amazing, but
yeah,
I
like
don't want
none.
to see him playing an 80-year-old Bob Dylan when
That
he's
would be
like
interesting.
30.
The I mean, without being too much of a spoiler, it kind of goes from his origins to him going electric and what that was all
That was a
about.
big deal. That was a
Yes.
big deal.
And
Yeah.
even like having seen the movie now and understanding the context of that and how kind of seismic it was is very kind of interesting. I think what was in like I really enjoyed the movie, but like I came away with more an appreciation of his music, found myself really kind of like humming some of his songs and things like that, and kind of like
Yeah.
researched him a little bit more, you know.
Yeah. And like
Um,
um so the Guthrie family, like Woody
yes.
Guthrie and Arlo Guthrie, they have a lot of history in the Pacific Northwest where I used to live. Like the so like the influence of the Guthries, like I
Hmm.
feel that in the music.
Hmm.
Um and what's interesting to me is like I would think that Bob Dylan would be a certain way given how much people care about him, but I don't think he really cares about like
I
anything.
no, I think it's true. Like I think he likes doing music, and I think it like I mean the impression I got from the movie was that it just kind of pours out of him, and he needs to like do it, you know,
Yeah.
and anything else is just like window dressing. It's very interesting, you know, and as I say, it really kind of maybe appreciate his craft, and you know, as I say, just how incredibly talented he was. I think I just don't like his voice. That's was my
Nobody
issue.
does.
Yeah, okay,
Nobody
good.
does.
That's all right. Phew.
It's like you can't understand what he's saying.
Yes. Yes, it's so true.
You can't.
So
It's just like some songs I'm just like he's just,
maybe maybe
mumbling.
maybe I just needed to hear those songs coming out of Timothy Chalamet's beautiful face.
Can we talk about Timothy Chalamet and his
Of
beautiful
course we
face
can.
and his 37 facial hairs?
Yes.
Because he was just on SNL like talking about that. Um, I can't. He's the one I can't figure out.
Okay.
I like he's just so personable
Yes.
and like he grew up in like a hippie commune and like a random, it's not a random building. There's like a hippie commune in New York City and like, you know, he's just he's been brought up through art
Yep.
and like he's everywhere right now doing all the things and doing it all well. And it's
Yeah.
just like I'm kind of like again, I'm jealous. I'm like, I want some of that energy and like
Yeah.
charisma and uh
It it is always so nice, and I mean, like whenever you like, he does seem like
like I
fairly
would
well
think
adjusted.
I think I would like to hang out with him. And I don't
Yes.
say that about many people
No,
because I don't like people or hanging out with people very often.
I hear you.
But I think I would hang out with Tim Chalamet
Yeah. Yeah.
if I'm saying his name correctly.
I can't say that. That's how you say it correctly, I think.
Where's Adam Sandler when we need him?
Well, this
Timothy
is true.
because there was some, it was like the Golden Globes or something, and whoever was hosting it, like the best joke of the night was that Timothy Chalamet's name is like something that would come out of Adam Sandler's mouth, and I was like,
Yes,
that is a good joke.
that is very true, actually. Yeah. That was what do you call the name of the comedian who hosted Golden Globes? Nick,
Nikki
yeah.
Glazer.
Nikki Glazer, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, she's quite good. I think
Okay.
I heard
So
that was a good hosting. She did a really good job hosting them.
yeah. I think it was like, well, normally she does all the roasts on
Yes.
Netflix, and they were like, how's she gonna not roast Hollywood, right? And like,
Oh, per Hollywood. Oh
I know,
no.
boo-hoo.
Boo.
So, so yeah, she did a good job.
Love it.
So people should see the movie.
I think so. Like I mean, as somebody who's not a Bob Dylan fan, who just kind of wanted to go to a movie
Hmm.
on at the weekend, I was really really pleasantly surprised by it, and yeah, I definitely think it's worth a punt.
Okay.
Um,
And it's like on the list just because I think is it up for Best Picture?
it is. I know that there'll be. I don't know if it's be up for Best Picture, but it definitely has some noms. Like the
He's
actors.
not. He's
No, the
nominated.
actress that played Joan Baez got nominated.
Okay.
Um,
I think
I don't know
Timothy
what else it
got
got.
nominated. No, no, no. Actor in leading role, Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, he got it. Okay, well,
Timothy
Timothy,
Chalamet. Timothy.
da da da. Uh, or this is the thing we're going to
Uh,
get in most trouble for.
I know. Someone tell well, to be fair, I've seen interviews and everyone's like, how do we pronounce your name? And he's like, however you want to.
Yeah,
So this is
that's another reason why he's cool. He just doesn't care. So yeah, whatever.
yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. So that was great. I say definitely recommend it. It says especially if you're a Bob Dylan fan, but I just thought it was a good time to movies.
Mm.
Um, and so since we last spoke, so there has been a slightly narrower window between recording sessions for these last few. Last time I was talking about my tax woes, and
Yes.
they still have not put through my tax return for completion, which is very scary and frustrating because I kind of know that if I don't have it complete before the end of the month, that I will still probably get fined, even though it's their fault, which is
Can you file?
awesome.
Do you like here? You can file an extension. Can you file
I
an
I am
extension?
I'm going to call him tomorrow. I'm going to say, look, in the light of this, can I have at least another month because this is ridiculous.
Mhm.
I want it to be done. I just don't want it to, be hanging over me, honestly. But like considering I've asked for it to be sent through to me and it still hasn't happened, I'm not hopeful that I will have it by the end of the week. And I feel like
No.
I'm going to have to do another hour long, you know, an hour of waiting before I can speak to somebody at least one more time,
Yes.
if not more.
Yes. I'm
So,
curious. Like, I'd like to like watch you do your taxes sometime,
hmm
and then like have you watch us do our taxes sometime. I'm just like
hmm
curious because I think ours are due like April 1 or something. There's like tax day, and everyone's like, "Oh
So
my God, tax day."
I've done now taxes in the UK and Australian taxes before because in when I was whenever I was like in Australia, you could reclaim your tax back because you're not a citizen. So for like jobs that you had done, you can reclaim tax back. And there was tons of places that were like for $100 Australian, we will do tax for you. But I was like, I bet I could figure this out, and I did figure it out, and it wasn't
Yeah.
too hard. And I
Yeah.
ended up doing it for a lot of people.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I don't know
Did
whether I did it right, but they
I
all
was
got
gonna
money.
say, did you do it right?
They all got money back. So I mean,
Okay.
it didn't do too bad. Um,
Do
and
they
like with
audit you?
no, I don't believe so.
Okay. They
I
do
think
here.
for the small sums of money you're talking about for like student, backpackers in Australia,
Yeah.
it's no big deal. And like I haven't been audited in this country as yet, but I've only had to do my own taxes as a self-employed individual once so far. So I think talking to a friend about it, I'm going to do my own this year, and I think in future years I'm just going to hire an accountant just to kind of keep me right. Like there's and like it seems like I can get somebody for relatively little money, and I think it would probably be a worthwhile.
Do you guys have like TurboTax?
No, I'm aware of it though.
Okay. It's like this thing, and it just like you put in a few numbers, and then it's like, I did it all. And you're like,
Surprise.
$40. And you're like, thanks. And then it carries over from year to year. But it's like, the year that like we bought a house, sold a house, like big years like that, it's like, yeah, then you hire someone. But usually, like, anytime I've hired a tax person, I've been disappointed.
Yeah,
So,
this is kind of my concern. I apparently our tax system and people I've talked to who've like worked internationally, our tax system is pretty complex.
okay.
So yay. So I don't know
Yay.
whether a piece of software out there or not, but I might look into that as an option. But yeah,
Death and
anyway.
taxes. Death and
So
taxes.
um, I'm sure all of you at home are like loving this tax chat.
You're welcome.
You're
Tax
so welcome.
chat.
But I think, shall we move on? Do you have any what's occurring, Beth?
No,
Occurring?
I don't. Do you?
No, I do not know.
I have a new segment, Andy.
Ooh, la di da.
I know. It is called You Ask and We Answer.
Ooh, okay. I mean, it's
Thank you for acting surprised.
hey, look, don't spoil. Look,
Sorry, sorry.
this is breaking kayfabe, okay? Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't break the fourth wall.
Don't break the
Third
fourth wall.
wall?
They don't need
Fourth
to know that
wall.
we've discussed this ahead of time, okay? My acting's very good, so nobody would have picked up on it.
Okay, you ask, we answer.
Yep.
So, episodes ago,
Yes.
we talked about Demi Moore in The Substance
Yep.
and how much we loved it and how excited we were that she got a Golden Globe
Hmm.
and for Best Actress and is also now nominated for an Oscar. Um, so we had someone write in, and I'm gonna just read what they said. What role or performance of Demi Moore's do you think was most award worthy?
It's an interesting one.
Hmm.
So Beth sent me this as a question, and I was kind of like, how familiar am I with her
I would like,
filmography?
I spent way more on this section than I did on like the rest of our episode.
Wow. So like, okay, but like I think I thought about the films of hers that I've seen, and like, I looked at her filmography, and I was kind of like, she doesn't have any sort of totemic, oh no, totemic's a bad word, prestige movies, if you know what I mean, like as in like Oscar baity stuff. And I think that that's not necessarily a slight, because like oftentimes stuff that is specifically put forward as a prestige movie that is for Oscar bait can just be a bit kind of crappy and just kind of like overwrought in a way that they think the Oscar committee will respond to.
Hmm.
I think she definitely has had huge movies. Like Ghost is such a, is
Did that win Best Picture?
I don't well, that's a good question. What do you call it? What do you call it? Berg won
Yeah,
supporting
yes,
actress for that.
right.
Um,
Uh, okay, keep going.
so I think that but like and I was thinking then about the performances of hers that I liked particularly. And I liked her I did like her in Ghost, but I also liked her in A Few Good Men was the other major one that I thought. And then I looked at other stuff and I was just like, yeah, either I haven't seen it or I'm not super interested in it. You know, I know like G.I. Jane was a big deal. But I don't know that the response to it was like what my memory of that movie is that she was the highest paid actress in the world at that time for that
Yeah,
movie,
yeah,
rather than the quality of the movie or anything like that.
yeah. And I think like so I'm probably more familiar with her work,
Hmm.
um, just because I watch a lot of fucking movies.
Yeah.
And like so I feel like they're like she has periods of like this was like a genre like she stuck with the genre
Yes.
and like there were the John Hughes years, right? Like all of those like St. Elmo's Fire and that was like and then that was her like as a kid, right? And then it was like I don't know. She had to break out of all of that.
Yeah.
So at one point, yeah, she got one of it. So I also read her. I read her autobiography. That's why I know a little bit more.
Oh, interesting.
Um,
Okay. Hmm.
yeah. So and she does mention like um that she was for Striptease, which came out after Ghost, I think,
I
and that
think it
was
was the
like
90s. Yeah, it was the
a
90s.
big deal. It was 1996 or something.
Hmm.
She got 12.5 million for that.
Hmm.
And she was the highest paid actress, and everyone was like she was dubbed like Demi Moore, like give me more, like give
Yep,
me all
yep. I
your money kind
remember
of
that.
thing,
Hmm.
right? And
Yep.
that's followed her. Um, but at the same time, her husband was making $16 million per film.
Yeah.
So
It,
her in her book, she actually says, like, why shouldn't I make the same amount as my
it's true.
husband for doing the same work and working just as hard.
Yep.
And like when she filmed G.I. Jane, like I don't like I remember the premise of the movie and like what a badass she was. And then but in her book she talks about like training.
Yeah.
And she actually trained with the Navy SEALs.
She's really.
Yeah, to get in shape for that film. So like the amount of work that she does like off screen which like all actors do, and that's part of why you get paid all the money. But like,
Mm.
I don't know if you could pay me enough to train with the Navy SEALs.
No, that'd be brutal.
Uh-huh. And she did
Absolutely.
it.
It's
And
fair
she
play
did
here.
it. Right. So, um, I think also like with The Substance, I don't think it's her most award-worthy movie.
Okay.
I think it's a good movie. I think it's a horror movie. I think it's like something different. And we're all like, oh, but it makes me a little sad that like I'm air quoting, like she's a
Hmm.
6-year-old woman and we're saying that she's brave,
Yes, I know it's
that
fucked
she's
up.
showing off her body on screen, and I'm air quoting again, like
Yeah.
at that age, right?
Yes.
And like that makes me that's like everyone it's kind of like Pam Anderson not wearing makeup and everyone's like, you're so brave, you're old and you're not wearing
Yep.
makeup. And I
It's
was just
fucked
like,
up.
so I wonder how much of it is I'm not trying to like I don't know what I'm trying to say,
You're
but
not
I
trying
don't
to
know if
diminish this current.
no.
No, at
Like
all. No.
she did a great job and it is a very like
Yep.
raw representation of aging
Hmm.
and she plays that role so well. She does such a good job, but it's also like um it's her real life, right?
Yeah.
And it she writes about it in her book and she, like she's had several comebacks in her career.
Yeah.
And I guess like I think for me, I loved like my favorite film that she was in was A Few Good Men, which
Yep.
was up for Oscars, and I can't remember if it won or not. But she's done like Disclosure, A Few Good Men,
Yes.
Ghost, uh, The Scarlet Letter, where they changed the ending to make it happy. Talk about
Really?
Hollywood. Hmm.
She was
Um,
an indecent proposal as well, wasn't
she was in
she?
Indecent Proposal. She was in Margin Call, like
Hmm.
good movies where that I think the problem is like, and to back up to A Few Good Men, like she was top billing with Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, and Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the only movies, or one of the, I think it might be the only movie, or one of two movies with Tom Cruise where like one of the lead female doesn't actually sleep with Tom Cruise in the script,
Oh
right?
wow.
So like they needed someone that was strong for that role and like the gender didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Um, so I think
No.
like I just think clearly gave us a lot of thought. I just think that she is a strong female in every movie, whether or not it's sexualized or not, it doesn't matter. She's so strong and powerful.
Yeah.
And I think that that doesn't necessarily work in her favor with audiences.
Yeah, that's true. Because like a lot of, sadly, a lot of men want to see kind of much more, submissive women and things like that. I agree with you on that. Yeah,
Mhm.
which is a damning indictment of our society, but it's
Right, right,
sadly true.
right. So I guess like my question back to our listener would be, because they had mentioned a little bit, like, you know, that they had thought that she had accolades and is, you know, the accolades that she got is that good enough or not? And I'm like, but is money or that she had been recognized in other ways other than getting awards. And I'm wondering if money and like being, top biller on a movie is better than like getting an award for your work.
Like,
Would you like the
yeah,
money, Andy, or do you like the Oscar?
that's a very, very good question. It'd be an interesting one. Like, I mean, I think that like, I mean, we've talked a little bit before about like success and stuff and like, what that means and what that kind of brings to you. And, I wonder if most of them are ultimately hollow, like both of those things certainly anyway, compared to like having some sort of, more fulfilling internal life or even like external life for the family and things like that. I don't know. It's an interesting question.
I want both.
Yeah, so yeah, I want it all. I want an Oscar win. I want a lot of
Uh-huh.
money. I want a good
Uh-huh.
internal life, good external
There you
life.
go. Yeah.
Not too much to ask, is it?
We can have it all.
We'll be
Well, and maybe Demi Moore can have it all too.
Yeah. I say let's not be greedy, Beth. Let's say but by within the decade, you and I will have completed the EGOT together.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect.
Deal.
Put it around our dream journal.
Okay.
Love it. Um,
Manifest that shit.
let's manifest the shit out of that. Yeah. So okay, that was great. And if anybody else has any more questions that they would like to pose this,
Anything
we'll
random,
yes,
please.
we'd love to hear
That's our
them.
jam because
Yeah,
we
we
do this
yeah,
anyway.
so true. So we might as well just fucking talk some shit about whatever it is that you want to hear about, you know. Yeah, love it. Okay. Do you have any? So no more occurring. In that case, shall we move on to our topic?
Hmm.
Which is
Speaking of coming out of retirement,
Yeah, it's true.
let's talk about fucking retirement.
Let's talk about our ideal retirement. Which is, we were talking about this, in the lead up to this episode, and it's an interesting one because I think it is one of these things, certainly within my own life, that I feel like was, idealized when I'm in my 20s because it seems so ludicrously far away. And then, like, as you get older, it becomes really serious, and you have to, like, start thinking about making sure you have the money in place for blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So it's an interesting one to chat about.
So, do folks in your country like live to work or work to live?
Um, I mean, like, generally, I guess probably work to live for the most part. I think. I don't know anybody who's like, I do know people who have jobs that they love, but by and large, people are like, pays the bills,
Gotcha.
allows me to do, whatever it is they are passionate about.
I think it's the same here. I think, of course, it's the same here. I mean, we're known for it,
Yeah.
for working too many hours and being
Oh,
unhappy. It's
100%.
interesting because I'm just like noticing, um, because you retire and then based on like what you made at the, what you paid into the system, then you get Social Security,
It,
hopefully.
it,
And that's what you're supposed to live off of for the rest of your life.
like, I think it's particularly messed up, the US side of things. You mean you just get so little time off. And I mean, it's like, well, your reward is whenever you're old, you mean like there's a reasonable chance probably suffering from some sort of health issues, and you won't be able to do half the things that you used to be able to do. Now you
Yeah.
enjoy yourself. It's like, well, why couldn't I have enjoyed myself when I was young in full health?
Yeah.
Things like that. It's
Yeah,
nuts.
it is. And like the way that it works here is you work, okay, and they're also talking about there is talk of raising the because people are living longer.
Yes.
And so do we raise the retirement age up a
Hmm.
few years so that no, you don't get Social Security until you're, 60 whatever. Um, but again, I read something the other day that said that no, people are just unhealthy longer.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
um it's interesting to like our culture doesn't have that familial structure anymore. So it's
Yeah.
not like you will help your parents, you'll move in with your parents and, help them age out of their body and
Yes.
then your kids will do that for you. It's like, no, we pay someone to help us with that process and to
A
be
lot of
there.
money as
A
well.
lot of money, a lot
Yeah.
of money. And I've got some fun ideas for us
Okay. I love
for
it.
where to go later. But it's just like I think here, like there's a giant migration
Hmm.
where you work really hard. And I'm just this is a huge generalization, but you work hard and then you move to Florida and you get an RV and you snowbird. And snowbird means like you go when the winter months are shitty wherever you live, you go down to Florida with your
Yeah.
RV and or stay in your condo there. And then when it's nice where you live, then you go back up. And there's so many retirement places in Florida. I looked this up. It's nuts.
I've heard this. I know it has that reputation even in this country as the kind of retiree paradise.
I'm not like nothing against Florida because my grandparents had a place there and they retired there and then when my grandma died, they left it to my parents and they had a place there and they were in like a 55 and older community. But I remember the first time my dad took me to Florida, he was like, this is where all the old farts are. And I was like, really? And then this like old lady like walked in front of us and fucking farted.
Wow, amazing.
You know,
As if on cue.
as if on cue. So
Uh,
what is like retirement look like for Ireland and Northern Ireland?
so okay, so
Do
I
you
don't
guys
know whether
migrate?
some people do. So there's, I mean, like that's interesting. There's kind of a lot to kind of unpack there, especially considering like the last 8 to 10 years of this country's existence. So, for a long time, even before we were part of a larger European community, the thing that people would do would buy like houses in Spain. So, like literally, there are places you can go to in Spain or places like that, mostly Spain anyway, that are essentially these towns that have converted into towns for English speaking locals. They serve English food and blah blah blah. So you can just kind of go out and do that. With Brexit and everything that's happened with that sort of plan has become a lot harder.
Interesting.
So a lot of people just aren't able to really do that anymore. I mean, I it, it's interesting. I don't know whether we've talked about the show before. Like certainly my parents have retired a long time for a long time. What they have kind of done is, I mean, like they have always had been great at finding things to do, finding things that they love. Like my dad bowls, he used to golf. They're both in like a bridge club. My mum goes line dancing. She's got yoga, etc., etc. She does like I think I've told you about the like knit and natter club that she's part of, where they just like knit together and they chat. So like they have pretty vibrant lives, but I have known other people whose parents have retired and they like sit at home, the home that they grew up in, and they watch TV and they go to the shop sometimes and they come home and they drink a cup of tea and they go to bed. And one of my friends in particular, his parents both did that. And I remember talking to him at the time because like they had both retired. He was worried about them. And his dad had been a mechanic, and I was like, well, would your dad not like get a car that he loved and maybe like put it together? He goes, no, he's got no interest in it. And both of them have started to develop Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
And I think that there must be a connection there to an extent. Do you know what I mean? Whenever your brain, you've just like, I've just decided my brain's not in use anymore, that it starts degrading faster. Um, so I think the dream is for a lot of people that they can buy a villa or an apartment somewhere hot in Europe, but I think all too often people do, something a bit local. The thing I'll say is that like with my parents, they want to stay here, but what they've taken up, and I think this is probably a common thing for both UK and US retirees, is that they go on cruises a lot.
Yes.
So they're going on a cruise. Um,
I thought you were going to say pickleball.
no, well, I don't think my dad's knees can handle pickleball, but they're doing like a Nordic cruise in February, so they're very much looking forward to that.
And I would say, so there are actual cruise ships that you can retire on,
I've heard about this.
and that's what you do. You travel the world for the rest of your life.
There was a story recently because there was one that was because like there's shipyards still ish in Belfast, and one of them was due to start. One of them that people were going to live on was due to start in Belfast, and it was delayed for like 2 months. And these like American residents who'd paid to like live in this boat were like, "Well, we're in Belfast for 2 months now," and they're
Yeah.
doing all these interviews with them and stuff.
So what ideas like have, because like everyone's got friends that are like, okay, like when we retire, like what if your friends come up with?
So I this doesn't happen so much anymore, but I remember in my 20s a handful of people being like, we're just gonna like buy a big house in the Caribbean. Like no thought to logistics whatsoever. And like all
Right.
of us are gonna get together and we're gonna hang out, we're gonna smoke weed and blah blah blah. And like, sit in hammocks all day and it's like, yeah, okay, sure, it sounds good to me, man. Let me know when it's happening and yeah, I'll let hit you back. Um but I feel like as and this is the thing I've said at the top of this episode, was that like I feel like as you get older, it's more like, well, what are your retirement plans look like? Do you have any investments? And I'm just like, those are things that I'm just like not good at, let's say. So yeah.
Yeah. Ours was like, yeah, we'll get a well. I mean, again, Oregon hippies.
Yes.
Everyone was like, we'll have a commune and
Yep.
like we'll grow weed and we'll sell it and like, I mean, not that far from Humboldt,
Yep.
which is like, world famous.
Yep.
And they do that there.
Yep.
So I don't think you have to be, you have to know people and be welcome. But and if you don't believe me, go watch the documentary Murder Mountain.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
so,
Hmm.
but I think even like, so when I was getting medical care down in Mexico, my doctor was her office. She actually was running two businesses, and one of the businesses was a retirement community, and then the other business was like her doctor business. And so I would
Oh,
be like
nice.
getting an IV sitting outside in the lovely weather with like all these little old ladies that were getting their hair braided and, didn't know who they were. And,
Yeah.
well, what's your name? I don't know. Okay. Well, do you know where you were born or where you live? No. Like
Oh,
just very odd, right? And I'm like trying to like, not die. So it was very
yeah.
weird, very weird. But like a lot of people in the United States, so like retirement homes are so expensive.
Hmm.
They're so expensive. Like
Yeah, same
sometimes it's
here.
like 90,000 a month American, which is like,
That's nuts.
I know,
Some
I
people,
know.
that's crazy even for here. Like some people don't make that in a year, even in the US, right?
No,
Not even
yeah,
close. That's
yeah.
crazy.
And so there it runs the gamut, you of what you pay for and the services that you get.
Yeah.
But if you need a lot of care or you really want to stay in a really nice place, like yeah, you pay for it. Um, and like my mom's, you know, she's been thinking about retire. She's retired. She's been retired for a while. Um, but she travels. She
Yep.
goes with like these groups. She goes with like National Geographic or
Yep.
there's another one that I can't remember the name of. And she's been to the Galapagos. She's going to Cuba, I think, next month. She's
Awesome.
going to France. She's going to Patagonia this year. Like she's just all over the place. And then, she lives well. And I keep saying this to her, like, spend your money. I don't want it.
Yep.
And she's really living her life. And it's like amazing the way that she's going about retirement as like a single lady or she's a widow. Um, so I look up to that a little bit,
Absolutely.
and I have no retirement.
Yeah.
I'm totally like being completely honest here. I have no retirement. I cashed it all out because I had to pay for medical treatment. And it was like, do I retire someday or do I like die early, like and not
Yeah.
see retirement at all?
I am very much in a similar sort of mindset where, it's kind of like, I'll probably be dead by then, but like I am increasingly concerned that I won't be dead by then.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
what do I do then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so that which leads me to like, because we talked a little bit then about, what the ideal plans would have been when we were younger, but what do you think now it might look like?
It's so different.
I know, isn't it? I mean,
It
like,
is.
let's go rather than like the, scary reality of what it is, what would you ideally like it to be?
Okay, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
So I would like to be warm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
You
want to
wait,
be,
you want to
yeah,
be warm,
I
Beth?
want to
You
be
Beth?
warm. I want to be by the
Makes no
ocean.
sense to me.
I know.
Okay.
This is why like everyone goes to Florida, I swear.
Sure.
Everyone has the same idea. I want there to be good good medical care.
Sure.
Maybe access to stem cells. That would be
Yeah.
nice. That are cheap.
Hmm.
Um, I would like it to be peaceful. I would like it to be like a peaceful place, like not in a war zone or not like, big like things that stress you out, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. I would like to be around people that are interesting
Yeah.
and will get me out because I think I would probably because I tend to hermit and turtle. And so like if I have someone, I think I need a college dorm
Yep.
where I have to like walk by people to talk to them to get to the bathroom or the
Yep.
kitchen or something, you know? Um, I thrive in that situation. Uh, but if I have my own space, then I tend to just be like, I don't want to, like I don't want to talk to anyone for like 3 days, which isn't healthy at all.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, like being around people that are doing interesting things. I would like happy hour around 4 o'clock every day,
Yep. Sure. I like it.
and where they're doing like half a shot and telling me it's a whole one
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Perfect. Yeah.
little flirting or
Of
whatever.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
really like, I'd like to be around like my friends.
Yeah. I think it's nice. I like that. I like a lot of that.
What about you?
I think I definitely agree with most of that. I think that would be in line with the sort of thing I would want to. Though I kind of increasingly I'm realizing that I won't be able to stop in any sort of meaningful way, just because of who I am. I mean, unless I change radically over the next 20 or 30 years. Um, I like my hope is that I can do something that I can continue to do, as long as I'm able to do it. I don't know what that looks like. And, my hope is that I can do some creative. But like, I like right now I'm trying to, certainly this year at least anyway, try to like slow down a little bit and try to
Yeah.
like find a bit more balance because as you know, I really struggle with that. But
You're
like
so busy.
yeah, I know. This month has been brutal and like I need to like stop with that because I'm just not, it just makes me miserable. Like
And yeah, I'm like a reforming or I'm not reformed, but like trying to be a reformed workaholic, and you're
mhm.
busy.
I know. I know. Like Beth saw my reduced schedule and she was like, was this what you normally do? And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of worse than this a lot of the time. Um, and so but I think I have a bit of like a little bit of work to get to that place,
Yeah.
to do. So
And it's
it's,
like
you know,
we've talked about, like clearing space to see what else will grow,
mhm.
right? And I also think like with retirement, because I Googled it, right? And all these things come up like, you know, 10 things to do and that'll keep you busy when you retire. So people like if there's a 10 articles on Google that are the first 10 articles that are all the same thing, like this is something people think about.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what am I going to do with my time when I'm not working? And that makes me like ha a little bit not sad. I just feel like we should all have time
It,
to do things we want to do anyway.
I think, I like we've talked about this before as well. It's like that this idea of I think it's increasingly hard to be like vulnerable and to put yourself in positions of I don't know as the older that you get for most people, I would
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
you know, and like people be like, oh, I don't want to do that. I haven't done it before, and it's like, well, then why don't you try it? And you might love it, but they don't want to appear to be foolish or whatever. I mean, I would say that most of the people who are willing to roll the dice and try new things aren't going to think, oh, you're foolish because you don't know what you're doing anyway, but it's just this kind of fear, I think, and it just keeps people away. And it really makes me sad, because I think people might be denying themselves something that they might absolutely love.
Yeah. And I was thinking also like I typed in like crazy things that you can do when you retire. Like
Hmm.
I had read something where there was like a Mandarin Chinese retirement community
Okay.
where it's for people that want to learn how to speak and eat the food and
That
like
rocks.
just right really just like you walk into this place and it's like you're in China and
Hmm.
everyone's speaking Mandarin and like that's where you live and they take care of you. Um, so I was like looking for things like that, but it was like bungee jumping, skydiving, and I'm like, well, that's for anyone at any age, right?
Yes,
Like just retirement shouldn't be like the line at which you then start to try these things.
it's true.
It's it's so I guess that was a little uh of a shift for me. Not necessarily. I guess like I think you and I live similar lives where we're like, I'm not gonna wait until I retire to do this thing that I really
Yes.
want to do.
Like,
Like I'm
yes,
gonna travel every year and not,
100%.
spend money on putting that into my retirement fund that I don't have anymore. I'm gonna travel.
I, like I have, and I've heard chilling stories from people in terms of a friend of mine who lives in the US on the East Coast, um, talking to somebody that he knew, and they were just doing regular stuff in their like teenage years, 20s, going out, seeing friends, drinking occasionally, going out to movies. And he has since got really into work, and like he like went back to my friend and goes, I can't believe all that time that I wasted. Think of the money that I could be making had I not been doing that. And I'm like, that is devastating to me
Yeah.
that that is where your brain's at now. I mean, like, there's nothing you can do because, it has become almost a religion for a lot of people, especially I think especially in the US. Like, I mean, I see that like it definitely is here as well to an extent, but like, how little leave people get over there is always kind of absolutely heartbreaking to me. Like considering we have ordinarily, including like national kind of days off, we have almost at a minimum another 25 days we can take, which is great, like, and it's as it should be for every country, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. I mean, most places you start with 2 weeks off
Yeah, it's
and then
nothing.
and then holidays. It's nothing. And that counts as sick days
I
too.
was gonna say, yeah, and I like, and if
Yeah.
you need to take some time off for actual functions and like funerals and whatever, you could lose a week in no time. You've got a week's holiday all
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Fuck
Like
that.
you lose I remember when my dad died, I got 2 days off work, 2 days
Crazy.
bereavement. That's it.
It's not right.
And
Like
I was
it's
like, I know. And I
disgusting.
remember like my boss was like, take all the time you need. I can't even like I was so like devastated. I don't even remember how long I took off work,
Yeah.
but I remember going back to work and I emailed HR and I was like, these are the days that I'm taking off. And they were like, okay, well, you get these 2 days and the rest you're gonna have to take as vacation. And I was like, I emailed them back. I'm like, but my dad passed away. And they were like, this is how it is. We're so
Yep.
sorry. And like, we wish things were different, but this is how it is. And I was just like, what the fuck? So
Yeah.
I
Nuts.
don't also like pension.
Hmm.
Like my father-in-law has a pension. My grandfather had a pension. My mom wasn't given a pension. I'm sure Mike isn't going to be getting a pension. So like that idea is going away.
That's nuts,
Companies
actually.
don't want to pay for it and they don't want to pay for people once they've retired. That's just not a thing. And so now
Yeah,
people rely solely on the government social security for that. So as I was saying, like, sorry, I'm just going down this like negative wormhole, but
interesting.
like you, we have Walmart here. You always have a greeter, typically that's someone in their mid 70s
I've seen it.
because they don't make enough money off Social Security and they need to work. So you work until you die is like a thing that is
It
pretty accepted here.
and like that is like, I mean, it's seems like a sign of a catastrophically broken system, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I don't think I'm saying anything shockingly new here, but like I don't. It's so crazy to me that people can't look at that and kind of go, "Well, do we need to fix this?" But of course, it has become such a thing where it's like, well, these people aren't working; they're reaching inside your pocket and they're taking your money. Is so like people like that get, people who can get demonized, and it's awful when it's like really. Uh, if they are taking any money out of your pocket, it is a fraction of what, like, the top one, the 1% or all the kind of ultra rich, or how much money they're taking out of your pockets. Like, it's
Yeah.
awful, awful,
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
so I think like my plan, obviously it's like I'm gonna wherever the kids are, like we'll probably they better be somewhere cool, man.
Yeah, they better be.
Be like, I'm gonna go to Ohio.
Yeah, yeah. No, no.
Okay, Arkansas. Um, I'd like to like live in the south of France.
Yeah.
somewhere warm and like, or somewhere in Europe. That would be cool. Maybe Michael get his Polish citizenship and then we can get the kids citizenship and then they can go wherever in the
Yeah.
world,
It's
right?
true. If you get then you get access to Europe, which would be huge.
Yeah. So I think like sell most of our things and just like spend 6 months in different parts of the world,
I love it.
assuming that ev the healthcare is going to be falling out of the trees and like
Of course, yeah, naturally, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
doctors are like welcoming you to the neighborhood. Podcasting, obviously, but
Sure.
like really just like kind of living life the way I'm already living it
Yeah, I love it.
is kind of what I see. And I don't think Michael ever quit working on everything and doing all the things.
Yes, that doesn't just based on like the time I spent with Mike and getting to know him,
Yeah.
like that absolutely fits.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Which and I
It's
can
like
relate,
he's
you know.
I know, I know. Like he like, it's like work is work and it provides us the things, but like, he'll always have three cars that he's working on.
Yeah.
Um, he'll always be,
Well,
looking for like we had this conversation the other day actually, because he was like, well, because I kind of had a freak out and I was like, what if our house burns down?
yeah.
Where do we go? What do we do? Like, do we want to stay in a place where like, if our house burns down, do we rebuild our house? Do we want to stay in Ramona? And like, we're having this like I had an existential crisis.
Okay.
And I was like, do we move back up to the Northwest? We could go to Bellingham. Like, we're one of your, like, he likes Bellingham. It's
hmm
up in Washington. They've
Okay.
got an office there. And I was like, I would do that, I guess, but I want to live on the ocean and it's cheap up there because it's rainy all the time. And like, he's like, we could do that. So we started looking into it. And honestly, like, I don't know what we'll do if our house burns down. Thank God it rained.
Yes.
But I really like California
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
really like our house. So if
Yep.
it doesn't burn down, I think we'll stay here until we're not here anymore.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
It
yeah.
does.
That your house doesn't burn down.
Yeah.
Look, well, Bellingham's really close to the Canadian border. I was just having a wee nosy. It's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Not very far from Vancouver at all.
No. Yeah,
Cool.
it's like up near the San Juan Islands and
Very cool.
but it's also like it's day two of rain. And I'm sorry, everyone. You're gonna be like, oh Beth, shut up. But like I really am depressed because the rain is lasting for more than a day.
Okay, just I'd
It's
like to
so
be
cloudy.
I would like to be the audience surrogate here and tell Beth, shut up.
Okay. You're right, Andy. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I like no, I think I like how you're thinking. I mean, like how you're thinking of retirement, and I think that I just don't know, and I can't imagine myself settling down and just pottering along and whatever. Anyway, I don't think whatever my retirement looks like, it will be anything conventional, probably knowing me. Like I just don't know what that looks like right now. But like I think there was a period of time, and it was probably when I was still working and I had a job that provided me with a pension that I was like a lot more stressed out about it. And now I'm just kind of like, I'll figure it out because like
Yeah.
I have figured out other stuff. You know, I've taken big risks in the past. Yeah, I continued to do so, and I have been able to like figure it out. So I think I can manage. Like so, we'll get there. I'll make it
Yeah.
work.
I've thought about playing the stock. Like I have time now and maybe more interest, honestly,
Yeah.
because my dad used to play the stock market all the time.
hmm
That's how we went to college. Was
Wow.
he was like, you can thank Philip Morris, who owns
Yeah.
Nabisco,
And
for your
were
college
they cigarettes as
education.
well?
Yes, they were.
Yes, I remember.
Light them
It's
up,
that's just
everyone.
from Mad Men, I think. I know Philip Morris.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So that's a really lame way of saying that I don't think smoking is good.
No.
But it's interesting. I mean, I've been around it. My dad was super into it. I might, $50 here or
Why not?
there.
Like
Yeah.
somebody gave me advice, and like if I was to play, and I've considered it in the past, but never got around to it, is that like put money into things that you know about. So like, I would have put money. I know a fair bit about like video game companies, for example, and things like
Mhm.
that. So I would kind of know, well, this one's doing well here and there. And I think that's kind of good advice. I've not done anything with that advice, but I think that's probably a good way to look at it. Industries that you're interested in, put your money there,
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah.
And yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm gonna just give you some examples
Hmm.
of options uh in America based on your personality type and okay, so you can actually live at Latitude Margaritaville.
Wait, what? Hold on.
It's called Latitude Margaritaville.
The name
It
is Latitude Margaritaville.
Latitude Margaritaville. Uh-huh. So there's three communities located in Daytona Beach, Florida,
Wow.
in the Panhandle, in Hilton Head, South Carolina. It's based on Jimmy Buffett,
Yep.
and you can basically like, live out your paradise ideal with a Tiki Island lifestyle in Florida.
I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like 55 plus. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm not that far away from
No.
that.
You're what, 45?
45, yeah.
Yeah, in 10 years,
I
you too could
know.
live at Latitude Margaritaville.
Well, never say
Okay, so
never.
this is a good one too. So for lovers of learning, there's Lassell Village. It's Lasell.
Uh-huh.
So if you love, so it's a retirement community affiliated with college campuses in
Okay.
like the Massachusetts area. So it's like an 11-minute drive from Boston. You would have to attend at least 450 hours of classes per year alongside the college students. So you're like hanging out with other, like you're old, but you're hanging out with college students. And then there's a senior living community there.
Hmm.
And um, it's basically like you're back to being a college student in Boston.
That sounds all right. Okay, let's
I know.
let's keep this on
And
the
they have
back
a
burner.
fitness center, a heated pool, an art studio, greenhouse, a hair salon, a walking path, and access to all the libraries.
Okay. Okay.
I
I
know.
like it.
Okay. Or for the Zen lifestyle, there's Enso Village. This is in Northern California. It's a partnership between the San Francisco Zen Center and the Kendall Corporation. And it wants to advocate and empower older adults to achieve their full potential. So it's like Zen, you practice all the different faiths and
Okay.
philosophies. You live in sustainable areas that have like meditation spaces and gardens, a tea room, a zendo. What the fuck is that?
Hmm.
Courtyards, and there's a memorial grove. And it has like independent and assisted living and memory care. So it's like in Simi Valley. Anyways,
Interesting.
or for the diehard aviators, the Spruce Creek Fly-In.
Okay.
So also in
Tell
Florida,
me more.
Daytona Beach. Okay. Once you get your pilot's license. So
Ooh,
I guess it's
okay.
like it's on a World War II naval airfield,
Okay.
and it now has like 5,000 people and a 4,000-foot runway. So everyone with their private jet can live there in this community, and you can fly in and out as much as you want. They've got tennis courts, hiking paths, a championship golf course, condos, townhouses, homes with hangars for your airplane, um, etc.
I'm sure they're
So
all
if you want, if you
extremely
exactly,
inexpensive.
yes, right. And then there's Hacienda on the River for
Hmm.
horse lovers. So you can get a
Okay.
horse and live there with your horse, and it does like a lot of horse therapy for people like with dementia. So now or the arts enthusiastic, the NoHo Senior Artist Colony. This is my last one. So
Oh,
this is in North Hollywood, NoHo.
yep.
Uh, I like this one. This is the one so basically it caters to people that like work in Hollywood. So many of the residents are Hollywood writers and actors, but it welcomes anyone into the arts. Um, there's a performing arts theater. So you get to do like theater, film, and also live in a beautiful luxury apartment and
Okay.
take acting and playwriting classes. And then you have access to like all of the wellness, everything, and all that. So
I like it.
I know.
Yeah, this is
So
good. I
we
mean,
could actually, what? Go ahead.
I think I was gonna say that the last one definitely sounds most appealing to me.
I know it's either Margaritaville or no ho
Yeah.
for me, obviously.
So I think what we're saying here is that we need to come together and we need to open a place that mixes those two.
I think
Okay.
so.
All
And
right.
maybe we can,
And
their airplane, uh, you can have a runway anywhere.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's a
So
good
I
point.
think,
Yeah, yeah,
you just
yeah.
combine all these things: horses,
And then
Zen, margaritas,
and then that's the thing.
learning.
That's the thing that will fund our retirement.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. Awesome. Um, okay, I
All to
think
say, it's a
uh
fucking booming business.
it is a booming business. Yeah, very much so. Like, it is definitely a very good way to make money. Um, I love it. Do you have anything else before we wrap up the topic for this week?
Mm,
I think I do. No, I don't.
no, I just like, everyone's trying their best. You're all doing your best. Let's
Yeah.
just don't stress about the retirement stuff and don't see it as like a death sentence.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
live your life as you would live it when you're 80. Live it that way now. And if
Just
that means, yeah,
just another phase of life.
yeah,
I think the only sort of lesson I've learned in the pro, and I probably only learned it fairly recently, is to try to, like, take care of my body so it'll at least be quasi-functional by the time I hit that that age.
it's harder to do than it should be.
Yep.
Yeah,
So true. Love it.
yeah,
Awesome. Okay.
that's good advice.
In that case, time to get to our favorite section of the whole podcast, which is what's been bringing you joy this past week.
Honey Heist.
Wait, Honey Heist? Really? Did you play?
Honey Heist. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
So
funny.
for Saturday night, we had like family dinner where we like for no reason at all. We got out the candles and we decorated the table. We had like a fancy steak and mashed potato
Love
dinner,
it.
and like we made so we have a lemon tree. Do you remember the lemon
Mm-hmm.
tree? It's January. The
Burnt fruit.
So we planted the tree like when we first moved here, so it's been like 2.5 years. It finally produced these giant Myers lemons.
Love it.
So we pulled like 8 of them off and we made our own lemonade, and it's so fucking good. They're like the best
Mm,
lemons I've ever had. The fact that I have a lemon tree and it's like 2 feet high, it makes me so happy.
that rocks.
So we made lemonade. We had a great dinner. Um, and then I was like, I have this game. Let's try and play it. And it was so fucking fun.
Good.
It was so fucking fun. So Mike was like, I could see like his little eyes like turn on, and he started like I was trying to be the game master, and
Sure.
then he was like helping me along, and I could
Yeah.
see this like whole side of him that I've
Interesting.
never I've never seen before,
That
or I see it
rocks.
very rarely. It was like so cute, and he was like totally just like, okay, now this is happening, and like, what are you gonna do? Okay, no, this is oh no, this is that blew up, and like roll to see if it blows up or not, like because it was just like it was so yeah. He's And then we watched season 4, episode 1 of Stranger Things that night to
Yeah.
watch like the whole,
And then
Hellfire Club episode.
yes, because there's a lot of D&D in that episode.
A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah.
D&D in that episode, and just like role playing, and like
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, I'm totally into doing this with the kids. So,
Yes, I love it.
and
That
then he
makes
was like,
me
I have to find all my raw parts figurines. I was like, yes, you do.
amazing. That makes me very happy to
I know.
hear.
So thank you. What about
Good.
you?
So like honestly, that was exactly because I was gonna be like, um we did an episode last week on Dungeons and Dragons, but what we really enjoy is Dungeons and Dragons because we've been playing it again. So weirdly, that is exactly what I've written down here. And I have just only got a few sessions now with my new group, but it has been really lovely to get back into it. I really like love the challenge of it. I love just kind of, seeing what happens. We can have a lot of fun. Like before, like, I had what I kind of want to do with this group is I kind of really want to build my own story and stuff. But like, I really was like, before I put the time into this, I want to see if this group is up for more of that. And they really seem to be. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. But first 2 sessions have been fantastic. And I'm thrilled that I'm doing it again. Truly, so much fun.
It's like it's hard to describe like what an RPG does, but
Yes.
it's like it turns on a certain part of your brain, it allows you to see people in a different light that you normal that like right?
Yeah,
Normally
it's
they're
true.
one way, but to see them just like really opening themselves up and being really creative is really cool.
I agree. It's really it's lovely to see that in people as well. I like, I say I just love the role playing aspect of it and how it makes people act. Like I was, I've had multiple characters that my parties interacted with, but there was a female sergeant of the guard, and they were like trying to hit on her. So it is quite funny role playing things with your friends where they're hitting on you, and you're just like, you know what, I don't, whatever this is, I don't want any part of it. Very interesting. So yeah, role play rocks, everybody. Role play is what I say.
Yeah, do it.
Do it.
Honey
But
Heist is free.
Honey Heist is
You just
free.
download you just download it.
You
And it
do?
was invented in like 2017.
Yeah. It's relatively
So
new. Yeah, it
you're so
rocks.
hip, Andy.
I know, aren't I? So down with the kids. As we know, I'm down with the streets, down with the kids, all the above.
In in
Um,
in the right way.
well, exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. All above board, okay. I don't want to hear anything else. Um, anyway, folks, in that case, I think we are at the end of this episode. So, Beth, could you tell everybody where they can find us?
You can find us at Latitude Margaritaville.
Yeah.
I know, right? Bendypodcast.com. Check us out. Tell your friends. Let
Um,
us know if there's other retirement communities that could make my amazing list.
eating a cheeseburger in paradise.
Right?
Isn't is that the song?
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. In that case, folks, we like to remind you, as always, to stay bendy. Oh, that was a good
Bendy.
one.
It just told me to set up professional audio and audio settings.
How
You
dare
shut
you?
up. I
Shut up.
know. Love
All
you
right.
guys.
Bye. We love
Bye.
you. Bye.